All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. And boy, did my last video ruffle a lot of feathers. Everything from my not having my glasses on, all the way to people saying that my last video was all false information. And it wasn't. Everything in my last video was not just my opinion. Superman has not made money. It has lost the studio money. It has less than half the audience that Man of Steel did. And the comics are definitely in trouble. Those things are not my opinion. They are things that are actually happening. And the fact that people cannot accept these facts shows you everything that's wrong with society. That you'll put the information right in front of people and they won't believe it. They'll just believe what the studio heads tell them. Oh, the studio says it's a success, so hey, it's a success. They say it's this because of this. It doesn't matter what the studio says. It matters at the end of the day how much money the movie made and how many people saw the film. And the fact is, the movie didn't do well. It just didn't. And that's not my opinion. You can have it be whatever you want it to be. I don't care that it has a high score on Rotten Tomatoes. Doesn't matter. It had half the audience. It doesn't matter that Peacemaker Season 2 has 100% by critics on Rotten Tomatoes. Doesn't matter. If you watch the trailer of that, it looks absolutely vile and disgusting. So, it is what it is. Those aren't my opinions. It's what it is. But let's take a look at the photos that I have grabbed since my last update. So first up today, James Gunn was asked if Superboy is going to be introduced in the DCU. And his response was, I don't know. We'll have to see about that. And so my guess is that he's probably going to be introduced into the DCU, and there's more stuff that he's being coy about that we will talk about later in this video. He's staying pretty close to the vest. We're finally seeing that he's acting more like a CEO and not just spouting stuff off on social media and then have other things happen opposite of what he said was going to happen. So this is a smart move for him to say something like this. Now, there are a lot of delusional people out there online. There are people that actually think that Supergirl is going to make over $900 million simply because it's coming off the success of Superman, and I use success in parentheses, and it brought the interest back for the DC universe. And so, yes, Supergirl is going to make over $900 million, and it's also because Jason Momoa is also going to be in there. I'm keeping these photos as proof when this movie comes out and doesn't even make as much money as Superman did. These people are absolutely delusional on what they think is happening versus reality. The interest is not there. Also, DC Updates posted this, and I had to laugh at this because they're trying to twist things now to make things look better than they actually are. And they posted the top highest grossing DC films at the domestic box office, meaning only in the U.S. Number 1 is The Dark Knight. Number 2 is The Dark Knight Rises. Number 3 is Wonder Woman. Number 4 is The Batman. And number 5 is Superman. All of a sudden, domestic is the only thing that matters. That isn't how business works. Movies aren't made just for the U.S. They are made for the entire world, and the worldwide box office makes a difference. You can't just have the domestic box office. You can't. This list means absolutely nothing. Also over the weekend, everyone was posting about how Superman was going to cross $600 million. They were actually talking about it the previous weekend. And after this weekend, it says Superman has crossed $594 million worldwide. The budget was $225 million. Confirmed to cross $600 million in the next few days. They keep saying this. This movie has lost its legs at the theater. We'll even see if it hits that number by the end of the week. Also, this was one of those things you just don't expect to ever see. But the legend, Terence Stamp, has passed away at the age of 87. And I was saddened to see this. This guy was an amazing actor. He was Zod in Superman 2, and they did some amazing stuff with Superman 2, and his character was amazing. He was in a lot of films, Sleepy Hollow and many others. He is going to be missed for sure. But he led a great life and had a great career. Now, I thought this was funny. It's funny how James Gunn has to go around explaining everything to a Superman film. Instead of maybe having to go around and explain everything, how about you make things make sense? James Gunn has addressed why Clark doesn't share the same accent as Ma and Pa Kent in Superman. He said, you go off to college in a different city, you get mocked for it, and you train yourself out of it little by little. Sure. Now, this is very interesting, and this comes from the Insider. And it says, journalists were asked not to ask Zoe Kravitz any questions about the Batman Part 2 during the caught-stealing junket, because she's not in it and doesn't know anything, according to publicists. So there are rumors now going around that she will not be a part of the Batman 2, which would be very, very questionable. This also was a very interesting reveal. Josh Brolin says Greg Fraser won't be back for Dune Part 3 as he takes on Sam Mendes's 4 Beatles films. His return for the Batman 2 now also looks doubtful. That's some pretty crazy stuff, because this guy is the one who sets the mood. It's not just the director. Greg was a huge part of the success of the Batman, and he was also a huge part of the success of both Dune 1 and Dune 2. Both of these films will suffer if he is not a part of it. Now, I had to laugh at this because James Gunn said the exact opposite just last week when he was talking about the release of Superman on digital. James Gunn says you can watch Peacemaker Season 2 without watching Superman first, but it's more fun to watch both. But he goes on to say, James Gunn says you don't have to watch Superman before Peacemaker Season 2, as the series will explain everything. And that comes from James Gunn himself on Instagram Threads. Now, what's funny about this is he just said last week that they had to do the release of Superman early on digital so that people had a chance to watch it before watching Peacemaker Season 2. If they're going to explain it all, and they would have made more money by keeping Superman in theaters rather than putting it on digital, and this statement is true, they would have done that. But the truth of the matter is Superman has lost its legs at the theaters, and they're going to make more money by releasing it on digital because it didn't do well. And we're going to see just how well it's doing on digital here in a few minutes, which is also very eye-opening. So here you go. Flix Patrol confirms Superman is doing very poorly worldwide on digital releases, mirroring the reception of the film. You can see that worldwide, number 1 is Mission Impossible. Number 2 is Karate Kid Legends, which was one of the worst films I've seen in a long time. You had Jurassic World Rebirth, How to Train Your Dragon. Nobody, the first nobody, is doing better on digital than Superman is. And then you have 28 Days Later, and there are more on the list. Superman is way down on this list. All of these films are doing way better on digital than Superman is. Superman is not the juggernaut they said it was. If it was, it would be ahead of all of these films. All of them. All right, now, I also wanted to talk about Margot Robbie, because I did grab this, and I'm not sure why it's not with the other photos. But James Gunn was asked about Margot Robbie coming back as Harley Quinn, and he said, we'll just have to wait and see, pretty much in the future, that he's not ready to reveal that just yet. My guess is that she will be back, simply because she was a part of his Suicide Squad film, and he is going to bring as many of his people back as he can. Again, the way they went about this reboot was the worst thing possible. And Kevin Feige just came out and said the reason that the new Captain America didn't do very well was because they didn't have Chris Evans come back as Captain America. You think? You think? Now, that's a part of the problem. But I could guarantee you that movie would have done a lot better if Chris Evans was actually in it. And that's the same mistake they're making. Nobody really asked for a reboot. You're going to have a loud minority of people saying, yes, a reboot was needed. But it really wasn't. A course correction maybe a little bit, but not a full reboot. People liked Henry Cavill as Superman. People loved Ben Affleck as Batman. You did not have to recast all of these characters. You simply didn't. And to bring it in and trade it for the what we got with Superman is criminal. It's absolutely criminal. All right, guys, there's my update for the day. I do appreciate the support. As more DC information comes out, I will be covering it, and we will see you guys on the next video.